Wedded bliss. Wednesday. Why I want you to wait 3 years before saying yes. Taylor Swift just got engaged, and while the world celebrates, I want to pause and ask a deeper question. Are we rushing into forever before we've healed our yesterday? As someone who lived through a parentified childhood and battled hidden addictions, I know what it feels like to crave love as a rescue. But love isn't a rescue. It's a reckoning. That's why I believe couples should wait 3 full years before getting engaged. Not because love isn't real, but because trauma is, and trauma wears masks. As a practicing Buddhist, I hold tightly to 2 core principles: non-attachment, love without clinging, let your partner evolve without trying to control their path. No harm, to ourselves, to others, and yes, to the words we speak. Words can wound, silence can suffocate, tone can trigger. Before you say yes to forever, ask yourself, can I love this person without needing them to fix me? Do our words build bridges, or burn them? Are we healing together, or hiding from ourselves? Until we heal our inner child, we cannot be healthy in any relationship. We will look to others to fill needs we can only meet ourselves. These aren't cute couple quiz questions. These are soul excavators. Ask them slowly. Answer honestly. I will read them slowly. Let them land. What wounds from childhood still shape how I love? Take time with that answer. What addictions or coping mechanisms do I hide from others? Name them, see them, seek help. How do I respond to conflict? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? Knowing your pattern changes everything. Do I feel emotionally safe with this person when I'm at my worst? Are we building a new family tree or repeating the one we came from? Can we sit in silence together without fear? Do our visions for life align or quietly compete? Engagement isn't just a ring, it's a ritual, a declaration that you've done the work and faced the shadows. When you finally say yes, let it be a soul yes, not a trauma yes. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I went to marriage counseling with a man our therapist later called a narcissist. I didn't even know the word then. I'll never forget the moment the therapist looked at him and said, "You don't want to be here." That was a turning point for me. Dr. Martin Rover's book, Healing the Wounds That Hurt Relationships, became a cornerstone in my healing journey. I've recommended it to countless peer support clients reconnecting with their souls. Heal your inner child. Speak with kindness. Practice non-attachment. Take your time. Let healing come before vows. Breathe. This is not about fear, it's about integrity. Taylor and Travis's engagement has the world swooning. Let's look, with curiosity, at what astrology might say. Taylor's Sagittarius sun meets Travis's Libra sun. Their moon signs bring both emotional depth and adventurous freedom. Sun signs form a sextile, friendly, flirty, fun. Moon energy mixes emotional sensitivity with the need for freedom. Venus-Mars placements suggest intense magnetic chemistry. Yes, there is heat. But chemistry alone doesn't heal the past. A composite chart can reveal the soul of a relationship. Scorpio energy, deep bonding, transformation through love. Yes, the stars can swoon, yet this is still earthly work. Astrology is poetic. Healing is practical. Both can guide, but healing must come first. Wait. Grow. Learn. Then commit. Want a podcast segment on celebrity charts and modern love? I'm totally in. De-stress with Mama Lovey D, empowering the parentified parent after narc abuse for deep soul love repair. You are love. You are peace. You are energy. How is your energy? Take inventory. Be gentle with yourself. Practical steps. Therapy, honest conversations, compassionate boundaries, time. Give yourself time. 3 years to learn and to prove the work stays done. Take your time. Heal. Speak with kindness. Practice non-attachment. De-stress and detox toxins with D. You are love. You are peace. When you finally say yes, let it be with eyes wide open. A soul yes, not a trauma yes. Breathe. You are worthy of that wait.
You know that friend who's always taking care of everyone else, who seems so mature and put together? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a hidden struggle that affects countless adults, the aftermath of being forced to grow up too fast. We're diving into parentification, complex PTSD, and the complicated path to healthy relationships.
And it's such a critical topic because this isn't just about past trauma, it's actively shaping relationships right now for so many people.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly is parentification? Because I think a lot of people might be experiencing this without even knowing there's a term for it.
Well, according to recent research, parentification occurs when a child is placed in the role of a parent or caregiver. This could mean taking care of siblings, managing household responsibilities, or even becoming an emotional support system for their own parent.
So it's like being the parent to your parent?
Exactly. And psychologists actually identify two main types: instrumental parentification, where children take on physical tasks like cooking or paying bills, and emotional parentification, where they become their parent's confidant or therapist.
That's fascinating. And I imagine this happens for various reasons?
Yes, research shows it often occurs in families dealing with parental illness, mental health challenges, or substance abuse. When parents become emotionally unavailable or unreliable, children step in to maintain family stability.
And what's the connection to complex PTSD? Because that's not something we hear about as often as regular PTSD.
Unlike traditional PTSD, which often stems from a single traumatic event, complex PTSD develops from prolonged exposure to trauma, particularly during childhood. Parentification can be that ongoing trauma.
That makes sense. It's not one big traumatic moment, but rather this constant chronic stress of having to be the adult when you're still a child.
Right, and here's what's really interesting. Recent studies show that this early role reversal actually rewires the brain's stress response system.
Wait, really? How so?
The research indicates that when someone experiences this kind of trauma, their brain shifts into constant survival mode. The fear center becomes overactive, while the part responsible for reasoning and impulse control becomes less effective.
And I imagine this affects relationships later in life?
Absolutely. A recent study published in Family Relations found that parentification was linked to low authenticity, low need satisfaction, and unhealthy relational entitlement in romantic relationships.
Can you break that down a bit? What does that actually look like in real life?
Well, think about it. If you grew up believing your needs were less important than everyone else's, you might struggle to express what you want in relationships or feel guilty when you do.
That reminds me of something interesting. You mentioned earlier about parentified children often going into helping professions.
Yes, research shows many end up in careers like counseling, nursing, or social work. It's almost like continuing that caretaking role they learned in childhood, just in a more professional context.
But there's also this hidden side to all of this, the connection to addiction. Can you talk about that?
This is crucial. Studies show that trauma survivors often turn to substances as a way to self-medicate and temporarily escape their emotional pain. It's a coping mechanism, albeit an unhealthy one.
And it becomes this vicious cycle, right?
Exactly. The research indicates that people use substances to numb the emotional pain or avoid distressing memories. But this actually prevents them from developing healthy coping mechanisms.
You know what's striking to me? How these patterns just keep repeating unless someone intervenes.
That's right. And what's particularly challenging is that parentified individuals often struggle to recognize these patterns because they've normalized them.
So how do people start to break free from these patterns?
Recent studies show that trauma-focused treatments, particularly those that address both PTSD and substance use together, can be very effective. They help people process traumatic memories while developing healthier coping strategies.
But I imagine it's not easy to take that first step.
No, it's not. Many people feel guilty about seeking help because they're so used to being the helper. It can feel like betraying that role they've carried for so long.
That's such an important point about guilt. It's like they need permission to take care of themselves.
Exactly. And research shows this is particularly true for those who experienced emotional parentification. They often struggle the most with putting their own needs first.
Let's talk about relationships specifically. How do people know if they're ready for a relationship while dealing with all this?
According to recent studies, it's not so much about being completely healed as it is about being aware of these patterns and actively working on them.
That's actually really encouraging. You don't have to be perfect first.
Right. And here's something interesting. Research shows that parentified individuals often have higher emotional intelligence in certain areas, like recognizing others' emotions.
Wait, really? That's kind of counterintuitive.
Yes, because they've spent years reading emotional cues and anticipating others' needs. The key is learning to apply that skill to understanding their own emotions, too.
So it's about balancing that natural caregiving instinct with self-care?
Exactly. Recent research emphasizes the importance of establishing healthy boundaries while maintaining the capacity for emotional connection.
And what about the addiction aspect? How does that fit into recovery?
Studies show that addressing trauma and addiction together yields better results than treating them separately. The integrated approach helps break both cycles simultaneously.
That makes sense. They're so interconnected.
And what's particularly encouraging is that new research shows people can benefit from trauma-focused treatment even while still struggling with substance use. They don't have to be completely sober first.
That feels like a really important point, lowering the barrier to getting help.
Absolutely. The research indicates that waiting for perfect conditions often prevents people from getting the help they need when they need it most.
You mentioned boundaries earlier. Can we dig into that a bit more?
Recent studies show that learning to set boundaries is particularly challenging for parentified individuals because they never saw healthy boundaries modeled in childhood.
So how do they start learning what healthy boundaries look like?
Research suggests starting small, practicing saying no to minor requests, expressing preferences, and gradually working up to bigger boundary-setting challenges.
And I imagine this is particularly important in romantic relationships.
Yes, studies show that parentified individuals often struggle with authenticity in relationships because they're so used to suppressing their own needs to care for others.
That must make it really hard to form genuine connections.
It does, and research indicates they often find themselves drawn to partners who need significant care or attention, recreating that caretaking dynamic from childhood.
So it's like they're unconsciously seeking out situations that feel familiar?
Exactly. The research shows this is a common pattern. We tend to gravitate toward what feels familiar, even if it's not healthy for us.
But there is hope for breaking these patterns, right?
Absolutely. Studies show that with awareness and proper support, people can learn to form healthier relationships and develop more balanced ways of connecting with others.
What's one practical thing people can start doing today if they recognize these patterns in themselves?
Research suggests starting with self-awareness. Simply noticing when you're falling into caretaking patterns or suppressing your own needs is a powerful first step.
That sounds doable, just noticing without trying to change everything at once.
Yes, and studies show that this kind of gradual approach is often more successful than trying to make dramatic changes all at once.
As we wrap up, what's the most important thing you want people to take away from this conversation?
The research is clear. Healing is possible. You don't have to be defined by your past experiences of parentification or trapped in cycles of addiction and unhealthy relationships.
And it's okay to need help with that healing process.
Absolutely. In fact, studies show that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness, especially for those who've spent their lives being the helper.
This has been such an enlightening conversation. Any final thoughts?
Yes, remember that your worth isn't measured by how much you can do for others. You deserve care and support just as much as anyone else.
Remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story and create healthier patterns in your relationships.
Subscribe for more healing conversations. With love, Mama Lovey D.